All right, so I know I usually open up the shows with a joke, but I got some very useful advice over the weekend, and I thought I would share it with you guys. So to set the scene, I have a buddy who's 38 years old. Has been married since he was 18 for 20 years. We were talking, man, and he seems like he's still happy and everything's going well. I was like, man, how you do it? 20 years is a long time. Your whole adulthood. Like, what's going on? He said, Josh, man, he said, I live by five rules, man. I got five keys to a successful marriage. So lay them on me, man. This is what he told me. He said, first things first, you got to find a woman that cooks for you. Okay, I dig it. Way to a man's heart's through his stomach. Okay. He said, next, find a woman who cleans for you. It's like, all right, man, we're getting a little chauvinistic now. Like, what else you got, man? He said, next, find a woman that makes you laugh. I was like, that's it, man. I'm with it. I'm with it for sure. What else you got? He said, find a woman who shares the same passion for intimacy with you. It's like, all right, we're heading back towards misogyny, but okay, what's the fifth key, man? What's the deal breaker? What we got? He said, last but not least, make sure those four women do not know about each other. All right, we are back with another Drive Across 65, season one, episode 23, coming off a successful weekend. Uh, we can talk about a couple of those games first. The Monday night game was disgusting. We had the Bengals going. That one hurt my feelings. Who else we got? Let's see. We talked about the Kentucky Tennessee game. That was obviously a no show game. That one sucked. The Vikings first half covered. That was a nice one. We had the Texans Titans under. Shout out to the 2 point conversion in the Thursday night game on the daily pick and the Texans Eagles game that gave us the over in that game. We've been riding high on the Texans unders all year, but to see that one come in was nice. Um, the one that the one that hurt me the most, the one I felt I don't want to say the most confident in, but the one that shocked me the most was I there were traps all weekend. We even talked about it. So there were traps all over the place all weekend. It's big upset weekend. This game is not a trap. And it was disgustingly a trap. Wake Forest minus 3.5 at Louisville got absolutely manhandled. That was bad. I think Cam Rising had 5 turnovers in the third quarter himself. What an absolute disgusting display. But I mean, we still have a good week, man. Shout out to the Phillies. We had them money line the other night. Hockey's been missing a little bit, but we will get back on track with that. So you guys know the drill. We're just gonna rip off the bets real quick, and then if you want to stick around to find out why, more than welcome to join the party. Starting off college, Ohio State minus 21 first half at Northwestern. Auburn plus 12.5 at Mississippi State. Under 40.5 Illinois, Michigan State. Over 69 Texas Tech, TCU. In Texas, minus 2.5 at Kansas State. That one's really interesting. That almost was an honorable mention, but I'm leaning really hard towards it. Uh, Honorable mentions: Wake again -3 in a bounce back game against NC State. Notre Dame +3 against Clemson. I want to bet this game so bad, and I don't have it in me. Everybody in the world is on Notre Dame, similar to how everybody in the world was on Kentucky last week, and I couldn't make myself bet it, and it was a good fade, unfortunately. Um, Alabama on the road. Um, LSU getting 13.5. Totals 56.5. I like that under, and obviously, if I like the under, I'm gonna like LSU. We'll talk about that in a minute. NFL games. The Rams with Cooper Cup, I know, still with a big Q next to his name. Rams are going to be the hashtag Drive across 65, road dog of the week. They're getting 3 points going to Tampa. Lions plus 3.5 at home against Green Bay. Wow, the Packers, man. I know Aaron Rodgers is just, we'll get to that. Falcons Chargers over 49.5. The Chiefs Titans is a honorable mention game. I wrote it down. I like the unders. A Sunday night game. We'll dive into that too. It might be a weather game. That might be a daily pick coming up soon. And then back to the Bengals. After they got embarrassed last week, absolutely annihilated. They're a 7-point favorite against the Panthers, who are ironically a better team without their head coach and what was their best player. You guys tell me. Those are the picks. I like them. I love them. I like them a lot. The trade deadline came and went. We will talk about that a little bit when we get to the Packers segment. I don't know what's going on there. Shout out to the Dolphins. Looks like they improved. They're selling out to win. And the Bills looks like they improved. They're selling out to win. The Packers are a dead horse that is just getting beat over again. And the horse is like, why are you still beating me? I'm dead. We'll talk about it now. What is going on up here in Green Bay that they don't have any offensive options? They gave all the money to Aaron Rodgers, made zero action on trade deadline day. And it shows now. They're 3.5, only a 3.5 point favorite against an abysmal Detroit Lions team. What's going on? So weird. Obviously, the McCaffrey trade happened a couple of weeks prior to the Niners. Looks like that was a successful pickup. He ended up playing quarterback, wide receiver, and running back. So far, since he's during his tenure with the Niners, he's absolutely crushing it. Panthers fans are punching the air, but also you gotta think that they're celebrating for him, man, because he gave that team, that franchise, a lot. Let's go back to the whys of the college football. So Ohio State minus 21 at Northwestern. The first thing that went through my mind was, is this potentially a look-ahead game, something you have to worry about? It's not. It looks like Ohio State doesn't have anybody coming up on their schedule. The line's 38.5 for the game, which I still even feel like that's kind of light. Even at 38.5 points, is still, like I said, it still feels light. But they're playing Northwestern. I like them to come out hot, build the lead, go into cruise control, maybe around mid third quarter, late third, to start the fourth. 21 feels comfortable for the first half. They'll probably cover the 38.5. I've said this 100 times about Ohio State, and I've been right every time. I've never bet it. They'll probably cover the 38.5 for the game. But I don't want to sweat out garbage time against a really bad Northwestern team when Ohio State's checked out in the third quarter. So minus 21 first half. They got Ohio State has Northwestern, Indiana, Maryland coming up. So, I mean, nothing really to look ahead to unless they're studying tape for Michigan in 4 weeks. Minus 21 first half, Ohio State. Auburn plus 12.5 at Mississippi State. So we've talked about betting the interim head coach. Every time it seems like there's a team that fires their head coach, i.e. Georgia Tech. And actually, it's happened a lot in multiple sports. It seems like every time a head coach or a manager in baseball is fired, minus the Angels, practically, that team comes out and just absolutely crushes it. But yeah, so Auburn has a new head coach. The headline said, riding the Cadillac. I like that a lot. Not to take anything away from Mississippi State. We did bet against them when they played Kentucky. We won that game. But this coach is going to be coaching for his life. It is at Mississippi State, but it feels and looks like a walkover game for Mississippi State. Makes me like Auburn even more. Auburn plus 12.5. Illinois, Michigan State under 40.5. Let's talk about this Illinois team for a second, because we had them early in the beginning of the year. They are really good. We lost that first half bet against Indiana where that touchdown got blown off, which was absolutely bogus. We're not going to focus on one play, but turns out one play in one game is a big deal when you have the first half. But Illinois has actually been crushing it. Michigan State's offense is not good. Let's look at some of the totals that Illinois has allowed against them in the past couple games. Um, so they allowed 9 against Nebraska, 14 against Minnesota, 6 against Iowa. That 9-6 game was awful, and 10 against Wisconsin. Um, University of Tennessee Chattanooga didn't score against them, but nevertheless, their defense is awesome. I was kind of flirting with the Michigan State under 10.5 team total. That feels like a win or two. If this game ends up 20-14, some weird score like that, I wouldn't be surprised. And I didn't want to get burned on a bogus touchdown at the end of the game that don't mean anything. Fourth quarter, a minute 46 left, and Michigan State scores a touchdown, down 2 touchdowns. Didn't love that spot when we did it with Iowa a couple weeks ago against Ohio State. So we're just going to rock with the under 40.5 Michigan State, Illinois. Over 69. Yep. Over 69 Texas Tech, TCU. That is a very, 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 very high total. I'm aware. You need essentially 10 touchdowns, which is 2 touchdowns, a quarter plus some little change left over. I know what we're getting into. I understand. I see the writing on the wall. You get one bad drive, one short quarter, or maybe a field goal, and your total is busted. I can't get away from it. I think TCU is a good team. They're undefeated. They're oddly undefeated. I didn't think they would be that good this year. Both teams are putting up points, though. We're looking at 70 points against West Virginia, 83 points against OK State, or in the OK State game, rather. Texas Tech, 72 points in the total points in the Oklahoma State game. Both teams are very capable of getting over 70 points. And 69 is a cool number, so that's why we bet it. The last game that we are going to bet, Texas staying in that state. No, it's at Kansas State. Staying with that name, Texas Christian, Texas Tech, now the Texas Longhorns, minus 2.5 this game doesn't make any sense game of the week. You got Kansas State, who isn't bad, ranked higher. You got to do Men in Black with that. You got to wipe that from your memory. Don't look at that when you're considering betting this game. It'll throw you off. So both these teams, again, we're doing the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde thing. For example, we're going to do a little sports math here, okay? Tell me if this makes sense to you guys. Kansas State beats Oklahoma 41-34. Texas beats Oklahoma 49-0, okay? Now we're going to flip that around a little bit. They're both teams are coming off a game against OK State. Texas coming off a bye. Hopefully rest don't make rest. That theory hasn't been proven successful this year. We're going to fade that theory for a little bit. The rest makes rest. So Texas coming off a loss to Oklahoma State 41-34, where Kansas State just beat them 48-0. You have 2 examples of 2 games of these teams each playing those teams with completely polar opposite results, and none of it makes sense. None of it. You got a number 24 against a number 13, and the number 24 team, 24 team is the favorite. Doesn't make any sense. Makes 0 sense. So we're going to bet Texas minus 2.5 at Kansas State. Again, the honorable mention, Wake minus 3 against NC State. Hoping they get that figured out. Wake Forest, that was a travesty. I want to talk about Notre Dame. Plus 3 against Clemson up there in South Bend. For college football's sake, for my sanity, for everything that is right in the Catholicism, Notre Dame needs to win this game. Some are saying that is God real game? You can consider it because Dabo Sweeney does think he's God, and obviously Notre Dame Catholics. So Clemson isn't good. They're not. They're not good. They've just every team that they've played that they've looked good against has come out and just laid an egg against other opponents who are better. So their resume is jacked, and they somehow got a better spot than Michigan in the college football playoff rankings. And I mean, honestly, there's nothing. I suppose that the selection committee's hands are tied in that situation, man, with Michigan having such a softer resume. But the teams that they have beaten are better than the teams that Clemson has beaten. None of it makes sense. Clemson's not good. Notre Dame +3. Talk about Alabama on the road. Uh, that theory has ran its course. I think we're 1-0 betting against them on the road, but I think they're 2-1 or 1-2 covering on the road. They're going to LSU. LSU's getting 13.5. We bet LSU against Tennessee a couple weeks ago, thinking that environment would hold up in a big game. And LSU fans were essentially like, it was 11 a.m. It was too early for us to go. I hope they have a better attitude coming into this game. This might be a daily pick. I like the under in this game too. I don't see a ton of points getting put up, 56.5. I like that under. And obviously, again, if you like the under, then you're probably going to want to take the points. I don't see this as a lopsided 40-10 game. Hopefully, I don't have to clip this and eat my words later. But nevertheless, honorable mention Alabama under 56.5 and LSU +13.5. Rams, road dog, hashtag drive across 65, road dog of the week, plus Cooper Kupp has a question mark next to his game. But one of these teams has to win. I mean, they both are extremely unsuccessful this year. Way lower of a bar than what everyone set for them. If you had told me that both of these teams were going to be under 500 week 7, week 8, I would tell you you're crazy. I mean, you got 3-14 versus week 9. I'm way off. Week 9, you got a 3-14 versus a 3-5 team. Doesn't make sense at all. I don't know what the Bucs are doing. I think these teams are exactly evenly matched. Give the advantage to the home team, which is the 3 points. So give me the road team at +3. Hashtag drive across 65, road dogs of the week. Lions +3.5 at home against the Packers. Packers coming off a game where they got slaughtered against the Bills. They look awful. Nothing happened on the trade deadline. If Aaron Rodgers isn't checked out, then he's on ayahuasca because whatever's going on up there is not successful, and there's no way he could be happy. I guess there's going to be competitive nature in this game. Nevertheless, it's not like the Lions are good. They're fighting to win their second game. They've been putting up a ton of points. We missed it against Dallas, but there was a 58-point game against the Dolphins last week. They only lost by 4. The Dolphins are really good. And again, the Packers coming off. I mean, they got 4 losses in a row. This might be number 5. Nevertheless, even if they win, man, I think it'll be short. Lions +3 at home. Falcons Chargers over 49.5. I hate betting unders. I had to find an over I liked. The Falcons, again, have surprised me a lot this year. Chargers defense is looking a little sketchy. I know they have some injuries on defense. They just allowed obviously Seattle is scoring a ton, but they just allowed 37 against Seattle. And the Falcons just put up 37 against Carolina in one of the weirder games of the week where, again, Carolina fired their coach, got rid of their best player, and they're better. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. So nevertheless, we're talking about 2 teams that each put up over 60 points last game. Actually, the Panthers-Falcons game went over 70 points. Over 49.5. 50 is a lot in the NFL. I get it, but both of these teams are way more than capable of getting there. I like where their offenses are doing and their defenses are not doing. Again, the honorable mention, Chiefs-Titans, weird game, AFC matchup. I like so everything on paper makes me like the under 46. It's kind of maybe a more of a public pick on my part. Um, could be a weather game. I know the Titans are going to run the ball a lot. The Sunday night curse, the primetime game, that trend of that still going under still exists. I like everything about the under 46. And the other honorable mention, Bengals -7. I still have faith in them against a Panthers team that looks way better than what they did at the beginning of the season. Again, after firing their coach and not having the best player. Bengals -7 is a weird line. I like it. Those are going to be our plays, guys. Make sure you follow along, like, subscribe. Check out the Guys MMA podcast. Loving that show too. Those guys rock. We will have those MMA picks out tomorrow morning. I appreciate everybody listening, watching, subscribing. Good luck, everybody.